Hello, my name is Oren Rausch, and today I will present my TED Talk. I haven't told a lot of people this, but I feel like now is the time to do it. So I have high-functioning autism, and I feel like people, especially teenagers and youth, do not understand truly what autism is, and I feel like there needs to be some explanation. To start off, this may not seem true to some of you because I don't have like the stereotypical aspects of having autism with little quirks and stuttering and being very shy. But autism is not something to be ashamed of. It is not something to be disapproved upon because of labels. For example, I don't call autism a disability or a disorder, which is what autism now is. It's called ASD, which is Autism Spectrum Disorder. And so I call it a difference. I feel like autism, out of every other mental difference that anyone has, is one of the things that not a lot of people can understand, because only autistic people can understand how autistic people think. And even though it's been shown we need to work on our social skills, and of course I completely understand that my social anxiety and my social awareness isn't as as improved upon as neurotypical people, but I feel like it's something that's very necessary to talk about. For example, people in my city of Austin, Texas, people in my school, friends that I have use the word autism as derogatory, as a way to discourage people. And I feel like that's completely incorrect and false. They try and associate autism with mental retardation, which I'd like to stand first of all that mental retardation is never a joking matter, and it's not something to discourage upon either, because mental retardation is something that's very severe, and we should not make fun of it or make people feel bad and try and take it lightly. And now they're using autism because retardation is now a no-no word. They're using autism as a loophole rather than saying retarded. And that is completely incorrect. People who have autism, even low functioning, are one of the smartest people I know. I have a group of friends that we have this group at our school that allows all autistic kids to come, and we practice our social skills. We learn how to speak, how to project, how to understand social nuances. And they're one of the smartest people I know. And yes, there are these ideas of savants who have these weird talents, but there are kids that I know who are not technically savant, but are really smart in one specific area. And it's true, that's one of the stereotypes. For example, I know a guy who knows all Pokemon that has ever been inside the Pokedex. I know people who know the pathways and shortcuts to a Mario game, a platforming game. People who learn all the lore of any sort of book or movie. And I feel like that's something that people need to address upon, that autism is not a bad thing. The difference about me is that my mother, my mom, shout out to her, she says that I'm on the border of the spectrum. Now, of course, a spectrum technically doesn't have a border. It's just a wide variety of a place of where every certain person is unique on that spectrum. But the problem with saying that I'm on the border is it's very difficult for me to state it without people being shocked. I don't think people understand that I work very, very hard. For example, me being up here telling, I don't know how many of you are watching this video, about my difference, that takes a lot on me already. I'm already getting socially anxious. And I feel like that's something that that drives me to talk about this issue, but also for me to tell you my story. I was raised as a normal white suburban straight boy that has never had as many struggles as a lot of other people have. But I feel like the biggest struggle I've had, of course, being autistic, is socially. First of all, being a high school teenager and having the social awkwardness of being autistic is never easy. I can't walk up to a girl and say hi without getting goosebumps on my skin. But no, jokes aside, I feel like my story is a bit different than a lot of others because, like my mom says, that I'm on the border. And it's difficult for me to state it and for people to understand the issues that I have. Now, of course, everyone has their own issues. And I completely understand that. There's no reason for me to put my issues above others or my struggles as more important than others. But for my sake, I feel like it's important for me to say that being highly functioning person on the autism spectrum, it is very difficult for me to state without people getting surprised. And for me to tell you that I work very, very hard on making sure I do not look stereotypical, not throwing temper tantrums, not stuttering, not pacing back and forth, not blurting things out that is unnecessary. Those kinds of things, one that I learned at that class that we learned about social skills, is very difficult. It takes a lot of my time and a lot of my attention to make sure that I seem socially acceptable. And I feel like that's not okay. Of course, teaching people social skills is always important. As a child, as a teenager, especially now at this age with social media involved, where now it's even more nuanced than ever with social skills, it's definitely important. But for me to tell that I have to tell you up front that I am autistic is something that's so difficult for me to say because society standards nowadays makes it seem like it's not okay for me to say it at all. And I could tell you at school, when I have to hide myself, and my teachers can tell you this, I have to hide myself, and I have to make sure my teachers have complete confidentiality that I have autism, and it's something that I wish I can lose, something that I could just show to the entire world. But due to what society states right now, it's not okay, and I feel like it needs to change. For one, the idea of changing Asperger's, which was a very, not wonderful, but very cool thing to have as just being a highly functioning autistic person, but is still functioning enough to be in a social situation without needing special needs, has now been included into ASD. And I feel the main issue of calling it ASD is it's not disorder. Kids, the autistic kids do need help. Don't get me wrong, I need help. Everyone needs help with their social skills. But saying that a group of people are disabled or disordered just due to social situations is something that needs to be addressed upon. Everyone is technically disabled and disordered in social situations. Teens, right now, who I'm hanging out with for an entire 3 weeks at this summer camp that I'm at right now, have social awkwardness because that's what we have. It's something that every teen has that needs to get into their own skin and being acceptable to themselves, being accountable to themselves. I could tell you a quick story of how me being autistic and not really stating it to a lot of people makes me feel really isolated, and I wish that wasn't the fact. I went to a summer camp last year, shout out CLTC2 2017, and we had this talk about March of the Living. If you don't know, March of the Living is a 2-week trip for all Jews globally to go to the concentration camps and the death camps in Poland. And they take a really long trip, and it's very informational. It's one of the things that every Jewish teen really should do. And then the next week after that, they go to Israel and they have a lot of fun. But but the problem is that it got really morbid for a lot of people. It got really sad. It really made a lot of people cry. And of course, I have social awareness. I know when people are getting sad or when people are bothered or when people are disturbed for some reason. But I did not cry. And I feel like one of the reasons why is, of course, I just don't feel as emotional as other people. No, I can tell you, I'm sensitive. When people are rude to me, I will start crying, and that's something that I can put out right now. It's okay to be sensitive. It's okay to show your emotions. It's one of the things that society really doesn't allow a lot of men to do. Or young men, it's like put upon. I'm sensitive. I can tell you right now that people are rude to me all over the place, and I don't show it, but I get very sad. I feel like this deep hole inside of people being ignorant to my situation, and when they don't notice that I have this issue, well, not an issue, this difference, sorry, see? This difference that I have, it sort of provides this, like, I don't know how to explain it, I'm sorry. This, I guess I have to say it, like isolation, like this idea of like being so lonely because no one can truly understand unless you are autistic how you feel. And like I said, me being highly functioning and not anyone noticing because of the stereotypes that they have is sort of difficult, because when I do react, when I do things that are stereotypically autistic, like being socially awkward, not understanding social nuances, those things, people get surprised. And it really hurts me inside to see that, not because it's never okay to really throw a temper tantrum in public, basically. And it's never okay to like harm yourself, of course, or anything like, or harm other people. But when I get mad, or when I get really anxious and like pacing around, people get really surprised. They see me and they're like, what the heck is that kid doing over there? And so it's really difficult for me to say that I have autism, because once they do, like, it feels like I'm all alone in this case. And it should not be. People should respect people, even if they don't have a difference. People should respect people. If people see that they're about to be disturbed or saddened or anything, bothered, or if they're having the greatest time of their life and you're not, let them have the great time of their life. Do not make their day worse because of what you're doing. And it's of course to share your emotions, and it's of course to do that. See, basically what I'm showing you right now is I'm socially aware of what's going on, and that's another thing that a lot of people don't understand about autism, is that there are some people, of course, that are not socially aware that need to work on it. But there are people out there that have autism, either diagnosed or undiagnosed, not self-diagnosed, but undiagnosed, that are self-aware of their emotions, and other emotions. So, in conclusion, I feel like one of the most important things for everyone to do is to respect people with disability, with differences, with uniqueness. Love everyone as they are. And I feel like me sharing this to, I don't know how many you guys are, but I hope this reaches out to a lot of people, and I hope this connects to a lot of people, and I hope this impacts a lot of people to know that it is okay to be different. It is okay to be mentally different. You don't have to be autistic and be worried about the next person trying to make fun of you because you have autism. It's never okay for someone to have any sort of mental disability, like Tourette's or depression or anything that like really, really is horrible to a lot of people. It's never okay to make fun of. And if people have issues, and if they want to reach them out, let them. They don't have to hide it. And I feel like these issues, if we all connect together, and if we all make our issues seem possible to accomplish, to overcome, the whole world would be a much more respectful place. And I feel like a lot of people would feel more welcomed in this society. Thank you.